Okay, so we're recording and you might be asked to okay the recording. So there we are. So we've got our water and a little spoon. Put a little bit of our starter in there. The floating nicely right up the top. So that means it's ready to go. We put our bowl on our scale. Turn it on, it should zero out. Add 700 grams of water. Everything is in grams because we're working on weight, not measure. 700, until I did that earlier. Now I'm going to do something that you might want to do next time, but not this time. I'm going to take out a tablespoon of water. I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil, but I suggest you do it without the olive oil this time so you can get that sort of that baseline. And then when you do the olive oil, you'll see the difference. It makes a slightly thinner crust and nicely there's our liquid.
Patricia, did you put the water in with the starter?
No, just the water so far.
Sorry?
Just the water so far.
Just the water. So I'm just a clean bowl then.
700 grams of water. I'm going to put 100 grams of starter. So you can zero out that bowl again or just do the maths. You do want to be as accurate as you can, especially if you're new at this, because you don't want to be too hydrated, because that can make the dough tricky to deal with when we're shaping and transferring from the banneton to the cooking. So there's the liquid.
So just to clarify, what are we actually putting in at the moment? Because I haven't set up anything. I haven't really got anything to hand.
700 grams of water.
Okay.
And 100 grams of starter.
Okay.
That's all so far. And then 500 grams of white flour. And then 500 grams of the whole grain flour. And then the salt. I always pre-measure my salt so I don't forget. I haven't forgotten yet, but the day will come. If I don't have it pre-measured, I'm going to forget my salt and I will be so cross with myself. In goes the salt. And I use my hands to mix it with. One big reason is you don't want to have any dry bits at the bottom. That's also another reason why we put the liquid in first. to avoid getting any dry bits because they just wouldn't bake very well. And I just mix it in. I used to use a thick-handled wooden spoon, but honestly, that is hard work, stirring it all in. So I find this much easier. And when you get the hang of it, there are some just ancient grains, quite a variety of ancient grains available. There's an emmer flour, which goes way back. Somebody discovered some emmer flour in a cave, I think it was in Egypt, perhaps, from quite a few thousand years ago, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, that was used. So someone's managed to grow it and make it available. And kamut, K-A-M-U-T, is another ancient grain that someone in Montana is growing. He got a hold of some kamut and planted it, got the seeds, planted more, got some seeds, and now he's producing quite a large amount. I've used that, and they just give a little different flavor. But I still use Michael's whole grain, because some of those others say wholemeal, and without speaking to the manufacturer, you can't be sure how much they've sort of fractionated that wheat and maybe taken some of the goodness out. Without that whole grain, you're missing out on huge benefits. So I think I'm pretty close. I'm feeling around, scraping it up from the bottom. Don't want to overwork it because you don't want to overwork the gluten. You do want to mix it thoroughly.
Patricia, how much salt do you put in, did you say?
20 grams.
20 grams.
20 grams. I found a dry spot. See, I'm not through yet. Got to keep going. I actually met some friends for lunch today. We went out for pizza, and it turned out to be sourdough pizza. It was gorgeous. Didn't grill them on how long they fermented it, though. I just enjoyed the taste and the texture. The other side of Bridgewater, if anybody wants to know. And it was outside. We sat outside, and it was in a grade 1 listed former monastery, they said, and it was a 3rd generation family of farmers that are there now. I think I've got it. Scraper. I'll scrape my hands. Scrape the side, scrape the bottom, don't want to miss anything. Box. Sit down a little bit. It'll sort of self-level itself. But there we go. Lid goes on. I'll go over my line again with Sharpie, but it's not in the drawer. So there is a line. By tomorrow morning, it will level itself out across. It most likely won't go above the line, but you'll see down here pockets of air pockets. That's the gas forming. So you'll see it's sort of like a worm farm or something. So it'll be level across, and then you'll see pockets of where the gas is forming. Then the next day, it'll go above the line a little bit. So that will be Tuesday. And by Wednesday, it should be sort of here. So that'll give it 3 days. And then what we'll do is take it out of the container. So we'll tip it up onto the countertop. Divide it into 3 sections if you're making a 600 gram loaf of bread. You'll divide it in half if you're making 900 gram loaves, and that'll depend on the size of the bannock and the size of the bowl. And that's when we'll shape it, and hopefully you can all be on live, because it's a little tricky with the folding and the shaping, and most people find it's helpful to see it. But again, I will post the recording. But just sometimes I can see what people are doing and say, nope, it's this, and so it's helpful for me to see what you're doing as well as you to see what I'm doing. So then after we shape, you'll have a bowl that's a little bit bigger than your bannock. So it's gonna be a little bit bigger than your ball of dough. You put about that much flour in the bowl. If you have any gluten issues or celiac issues, use rice flour. Otherwise, you can use the whole grain wheat or white or rye flour, whatever you want. And then we'll just put the ball of dough in there and sort of twizzle it around and really coat the ball of dough that we shaped. You'll plunk it in your bannock. So what hits the bottom of the bannock is going to be the top of your loaf of bread. That makes sense. So you put that in there, cover it with a shower cap. Shower caps are great because it allows, it'll expand with the dough. If you don't have the bannock, then you can use a mixing bowl that is a little bit sort of the same size as your dough, or a little bit bigger, not too big, because you don't want it to expand too much. And then just line the bowl with a tea towel. Non-fluffy one is best. So then you're going to put that floured ball of dough in the bowl lined with the tea towel. And that will act like a bannock. You just won't get those cute little swirly squiggles on it. And then you want to cover it so that it doesn't develop a hard crust. Again, if you have the shower cap, that's great, or you can use the tea towel floured so it doesn't stick. And then that's going to go back in the fridge for another close to 24 hours. When you're doing this on your own, 12 hours is usually enough. And then we'll be baking Thursday night, shaping our dough Wednesday night, baking Thursday night, and then be party time, won't it? Does that make sense? Good. Sherry's is all mixed up. Good. In your container? Is it in your container?
Well, a large container, but that's what I had.
Yeah, that's good. Bigger is better. Bigger is better. I've had people put it in too small a container, and it just busts through the top, or it keeps it from expanding, and it can't really do its thing. And we wanted to modify the gluten. Then when you're on your own baking, if you're not gluten sensitive, then you don't have to go the full 4 days. And I often don't. I usually let it go in my fridge a couple of days, then I shape, and then I bake the next day. Also, if you don't like the sour taste, which I love, I feed my starter a lot because that improves the sour taste. So that, let me know if you don't like the taste, or your husband doesn't like the taste, or the kids don't like the taste. You can back off. But
when you mean back off, what, just feed it with less?
Don't feed your starter quite so much.
Is that per day or less in quantity?
Per day. So you might, we've got that discard jar. I've got my discard jar. I mean, that's full. And I've got another one as well because I like making stuff with it. But and you'll find as you go along, this is pretty potent. I could feed this one time, take a little bit out, feed it one time, and it'd probably be ready to go and bake bread. It took us 5 days to get our starter going to float because we started from scratch. But I want you to know how to start from scratch. Because oftentimes someone in the class will say, "Oh, I killed my starter. I threw it away." I said, "Well, what did it look like? Why do you think you killed it?" "Well, because it had this liquid film on the top. It wasn't dead. That's called hooch. Stir it back in." So I just want you to know how to do it from scratch, just in case something happens.
How do I know when I've got this dough looking? I don't know whether you can see, Patricia.
That looks good. Just feel around for any wet or dry pockets in there.
Yeah, I've got the scraper is brilliant. I've just been making sure that I've got everything. I can't see any more dry.
But
definitely no wet.
Feeling around for me is good. I can usually feel it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's everything sticking to my hand. I can't see any dry bits of flour.
That's good. That's good.
But I'm obviously trying not to sort of like, it's like pastry. You do it as gently as possible. But this is, first time for everything, isn't there?
Well,
right. Okay.
We don't want to overwork the gluten, but it's not like you're going to pound it and pull it and fold it and all that stuff. So that's fine.
Okay. Right. Let's get my container.
And then, before the rest of you hopped on, so we can make crumpets tomorrow. We can hop on together if you want to do crumpets together, or I can just make some crumpets and film it and just post it. And then you have a go whenever you want to make crumpets this week, next week, whatever, using the discard. So it's not going to have any flour in it. So it will be completely safe for anybody who's gluten intolerant, the crumpets. And then you have a go and then ask me if you have any questions if you want to do that. And I'll do.
Well, I think that's probably the best. I've got to get some crumpet rings. I haven't got any yet.
Okay.
So
I'll do it and you can jump on whatever. And I'll make some crackers as well. So these are silicone sheets. You can get them off Amazon. I think I got 3 for, I don't know, £6 or something. They're brilliant. So essentially you take like a firm shallow pan. This is on the back side. Put the silicone sheet there. And again, you're going to use the discard. So these are great for anybody who's gluten sensitive. And I'll put the recipe, but you put it in a bowl, and your discard can vary in how thick it is or how thin it is, just depending on, weather and I don't know, stuff. It can vary a little bit. So you just thin it out with maybe a little water if it's too thick. This is just eyeing it. But must put some oil in it. And I use olive oil. If not, you will break your teeth. But you put a little olive oil in, and there's most delightful crunch.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to. I mean, the bread's exciting, but the fact you can make crumpets and crackers as well is even better.
Mm.
Right.
Here's some crackers. So you make that base with the starter, maybe a little water, add some olive oil for sure, or you can use whatever oil, flavored oil, basil oil, whatever. Pinch of salt, but then you just sprinkle whatever you want. I put nettle leaves, poppy seeds, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds. And that's where having a class is fun. People say, oh, I use this and I use it. Somebody used curry powder one time. You know, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, that you can really, I mean, I was thinking, you know, learn to do it first and then start experimenting.
Yeah. And for Christmas, I put, well, one time instead of water, I used elderflower cordial.
Oh.
You know, so
I'll give it a really interesting flavor.
Because
I can see Christmas being homemade crackers, some local cheese, and a nice bottle of port.
Oh, thank you for that, Annette. I'll look forward to it.
It's not a surprise if you know. But yeah, it's just a nice thing to do, isn't it? It's so simple.
And isn't it nice when someone for me, I like it when someone gives me something they made instead of just ordering it online. They actually took the time to make it. Makes it really special.
The thing is nobody's going to make the crackers like you. Everybody, each one of us is going to make them different. So it's going to be very unique. And each time you make it, it's going to be different. So
yeah.
But I know my brother has a fondness for cheese and biscuits. So
well, and you can put Parmesan cheese in the crackers or on the crackers. I put chopped dried cranberries one Christmas, and then when they were when they cooled, I drizzled chocolate.
Oh,
I mean,
but you could also have that with a really nice cheese as well, like camembert. Oh, the ideas are endless, aren't there? There's so much you can do. So right, that's my. You're ready.
Oh, good. So they all go in the fridge tonight. We don't want it to prove too quickly, and we don't want it to be in the fridge too long either, because then it'll lose all of its oomph and it won't have enough left when we bake. So.
So it goes in tonight, and then we just check it each day.
Yeah, just open the door. Oh, hello, how are you doing? My fridge is about 10 degrees, just so you know. I had a load of Americans do this, and they have their fridge freezing. I mean, that's what the freezer's for. They had their fridge freezing. They killed theirs. They definitely did.
My fridge is 5 degrees.
Yeah, mine's about.
That's pretty normal here. Okay. The freezer's -18 and the fridge is 5.
Okay, at least it's above freezing. If yours isn't moving at all, you might want to just crank it up just a little, up to 10.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll keep mine to the front of the fridge, because the back tends to get colder. Okay. So if it's the front, I think it should be okay. I mean, we're shaping it on Tuesday, so it's not going to be in there that long, is it?
Well, we're going to shape it on Wednesday, because we need it in the fridge for 3 days.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so just, keep an eye. And sometimes I'll put a thermometer on the box, depending if the shelf, whatever shelf is clear.
Patricia, sorry to interrupt. I've got to go. We're off to the theatre.
Ooh.
Thank you. I'll watch the recording. Body Club.
Okay.
But see you again. All right. Take care.
Bye. Bye. Okay, so that's it. That's it.
Brilliant.
So what do we do with what's left in the jar?
That's your discard. So put a lid on it, keep it in the fridge. I'll make some crumpets tomorrow and I'll post in our group tomorrow afternoon. So you can have a play with that.
So all of it that's just come out, what we've just, because we've taken our 100 grams out and we've got what, I don't know,
Bowl full. Yeah.
well, half a jug full.
Yeah, just keep adding to that jar. And then
So all the starter goes in the fridge now.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you can keep some to sort of like build up on, yeah?
yeah, if you want to start feeding to get ready for the next lot, yeah, by all means do.
Yeah. Brilliant. Because after having tasted it when I met you, that is it's just delicious. So I can see maybe this being a regular thing.
I do. I've just got it on the go. I bake like once a week and it's only me. So yeah.
We could potentially do some Christmas Zooms, can't we, with some Christmas foods?
Yes. Well, and share our ideas.
I don't know whether you can see, this is my falafel.
Oh, nice. And you're baking those, them, not frying them?
Yes. It's actually a Tom Kerridge recipe. It's so easy to make. And and I had it for supper with salad. I put a dollop of chili sauce and then I made tzatziki. So it's sort of just really nice, healthy.
I'll look for that in the Christmas parcel.
I just love it. It's ironic. All the years I lived in the Middle East and I never made it until I came back.
Oh, that looks gorgeous.
It's the second time